Throughout the story of Celtic Football Club, there have been many outstanding victories and memorable teams which are etched in the history books of the Parkhead side. However, in that time, certain individuals have stood out, not only for their skills, but for that dedication and faith in the club, which made them legends to the Celtic supporters. They were proud to be Celts. One of the greatest and most outstanding players ever to pull on a Celtic jersey was Jimmy Johnston, simply known as Jinky by the fans. He brought not only great skill to the game, but gave the supporters what they wanted.
Connolly, a good ball to Johnston, and this is where it really happens for Celtic. Johnson going through the middle like that. Kenny Dalglish. Connolly. And it must be the goal. There's the equaliser by Jimmy Johnston.
Always a Celtic fan, Jimmy made his debut in March 1963. He impressed Jimmy McGrory, and the youngster played in his first cup final against Rangers 2 months later. His skillful play was to become his trademark, endearing him to the Celtic faithful.
And this is Johnston. Johnston. Celtic fans are loving him.
I could remember sweating pails of water the night before a Celtic Rangers game. You were going through it all the time. I don't know how you could go and play, because you hardly slept, just thinking about, oh, if this happens or that happens, or you get the ball and you picture yourself in front of the goal, the ball coming, you sticking it in it, that's the winner. All these things going through your head, and then when you turned up at the game, you were still going. You never sort of calmed down just until you got onto the park.
Johnson. Trovan towering above him. Now you see why Celtic decided to play this little boy today. To Murdoch. Through to Hughes. Oh.
Jimmy won his first championship medal in 1966 under the guidance of manager Jock Stein. It was to be the springboard for the most successful period in the club's history.
Clark. Number 6 to Chambers. An intelligent pass. Chambers with McLean. And here's a chance for Lennox. Johnston. And it's a goal. A goal by Johnston.
In that time, that era when it all happened, when we had that great run, the 9 championships in the league, it was, the difference was how much of a family they were, how well that they got on. I cannot remember any serious arguments or fighting or whatever. You had the odd wee brag, but it was mainly all in good humour, and it was all like mickey taking.
It was a team full of very, very strong personalities. We worked hard, enjoyed ourselves hard, we trained hard, we did everything hard. Nothing was ever a friendly game, or nothing was ever a friendly matter to us. But nobody else was allowed into it, or it was difficult for other people to break into it. And even to this day, to be quite honest with you, there is a real close bond. I think it's a bond that's got even closer.
That closeness and understanding made the team almost invincible on the park, allowing Jimmy to exhibit his immense ability, which wore down and often demoralised their rivals.
Even won the European Cup, I think that the supporters would still rather that you beat Rangers New Year's Day than you won the European Cup. I tell you that. That's funny. It's strange, but it's true. It means so much to them, and you know, we to us it's a game. We play it. We don't see the players. We go on our way. We go and we do our training. We back into the park, and then we look forward to the next game. These people have got to go home. They've got to get into their pubs. They've got to take all the stick. They've got to go to their work on the Monday. And I know a lot of them used to miss the work purposely. They don't buy the papers. That's what the Monday. you know, and we get that feeling for them. We used to see them, some of them used to be greeting, you know, Stoney, you know, look what you've done to us, you know. But it's something really, it's very, very special to them.
But tears were the furthest thing from the Celtic fans' minds when the league was to be decided at Ibrox on the last day of the season in 1967. Jimmy was again to be the hero of the 90 minutes.
Lennox trying to get it in. No! It's a goal for Celtic, yes! Johnston has scored. All to Johnston. Johnston! Big shot and save. Into Johnston. Johnston. And a goal by Johnston. That makes it 2 by him. And that makes the score Rangers 1, Celtic 2. With 16 minutes to go, right out of the blue. A great little player's good goal.
On the park, he had unbelievable skills. But what people, you know, people talk about him to this day and think that he just jinked about on a ball. No, he was as strong as a wee horse. I mean, the punishment that wee man took on the pitch was incredible. But he had the power and the strength to get up and do something about it.
Wallace following up when Celtic go into the lead. Rangers nothing, Celtic 1 after 6 minutes in the first half.
The driving force of the team was manager Jock Stein, who had the ability to treat each player individually, no matter how diverse their character. He once said his greatest achievement was keeping Jimmy in the game for so long, due to the winger's volatile temperament.
You didn't need really a lot of tactics because the team, the people, the players that he had at that time went out and played. It just played off the cuff, the same as in the European Cup final. It was no tactics. He just says, look, just get out and play the way. We'd watched Milan, we knew how they played. He didn't bother about that. He just threw it all at the wall and says, no, you go and you just play your way and it'll work. He was so brilliant at that.
But even before the match, Jimmy and the team employed their own tactics in the tunnel when the unfavoured Celtic first came face to face with Inter Milan.
This was the great Inter Milan, and we're looking at him, and you know, you could picture me, I had no teeth at the front. Me Bobby had no Ronnie had the full set and his what do you call it, his bonnet. And they must have been looking and thinking, what is this? It's a circus act. You're stunning, man, all their hands, oh Jesus. You get the hair all swished back and the teeth gleaming, you know, and the ambers are laying there like that, you know, the wee berries say, wee man. He says, what about this? Caesar Romero, he says, how you doing, big fella? And the boy doesn't understand a word he's saying. He's telling your mom, he says, you'll be a bit late tonight. He says, because we get you out there, he says, your heat'll be burling. And that was it, and just a rapport went, and we just say, right, okay, let's go. But the nerves are killing you, you know, you're thinking this is the greatest team in the world, which they did, and they proved it. They had proved it up to that day. We were the best in the world.
Here's Johnston. Oh, it's up for Johnston. And Johnston, what a great save by Sati, a great effort by Johnston.
Medals. He is surely one of the most memorable footballers ever to play for Celtic for his skill, entertaining style of play and his sheer will to win.
Oh, this is brilliant stuff from Johnston.
Gordon coming over. Johnston. To Johnston. So difficult to take the ball from Johnson.
Despite receiving accolades from the top players in the world, Jimmy still considers the most important part of Celtic is the supporters who stick with the club through thick and thin.
Everything that's happened in the Celtic Park is all down to them, and I've said that and said it all along. It's their money that's built the stand, it's their money that is buying all the goods, and it's their money that's buying the players, and they've got to put my hands up, and everything that has been asked of them, they have done it, and I'm not surprised, because they're magnificent. And I've laughed with them and I've great with them. We've been to all the best places in the world, we've played in all the stadiums in the world with them, and I know how they feel, and up to myself, I'm part of them, and I know what their feelings are, so I'm not doing this for effect. It's very genuine love for the people out there and what they gave me.
In 1957, Celtic signed a player who was, like the fortunate few before him, to become a legend. The slim 17-year-old went on to be the club's most successful captain, and as manager, brought 8 trophies to Parkhead.
When I actual fact made my debut in an unofficial, pre-season friendly in Dublin, I played my second game in Belfast and my third game in Derry. So Ireland's always been significant, but it was important because I showed up quite well. And the following season, Bobby Evans got injured very early in the season, after I think it was the third or fourth game, and I get drafted in August 1958 to play against Clyde at Celtic Park. So it was great for me, and that first season I did quite well because I played quite a lot of games in the first team.
That talent was to grow over the years, and in 1963 he was given the captaincy by Jimmy McGrory. But it was during the reign of Jock Stein that Billy's career and the club's fortunes flourished. The 1965 Cup final was to be the beginning of the glory years.
The man who takes all the Celtic corner kicks, Gallagher. And defended to the by McNeil. The Celtic captain and centre-half, Billy McNeil, races up there to head in what could very well be the goal which will win the Scottish Cup for Celtic for the first time in 11 years.
And Auld is taking the free kick. It's a good one. It's a goal. Auld for Celtic. A deflection. That makes it Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Murdoch moving into the penalty area. Brogan. Murdoch. It's a goal!
We always felt that on our day that we could handle anybody. We were afraid of nothing. Sometimes it created a problem to us, but it was the way we were, and I don't think anything would ever have altered it. At times, probably we should have killed games, but it wasn't our nature. If we were winning 1-0, we wanted to make it 2. If we were winning 2-0, we wanted to make it 3. And that was just the way the team was, and it was it was a superb unit, and some very, very skillful and creative players, very exciting players, and a great crowd of lads to play with.
Murdoch! The goal by Murdoch, what a goal! There's Lennox. It's a goal! The goal by Lennox, right out of the blue. Celtic 3, Rangers 1, technically on the final whistle.
Billy was a rock in the defence, his immense experience and stature allowing Celtic to attack with confidence, knowing they could depend on their captain no matter the opposition.
Field clearing. Could be a difficult one. Here's Hood. A great ball by Hood.
He could also lead by example and often fearlessly rose to head the ball home, especially in crucial matches.
Billy McNeil coming up for a second shot. He scored! Flying goal from Billy McNeil.
There have been many stories regarding Billy's nickname Caesar, Latin for king, the great Roman leader. But in reality, it was due more to the Glasgow sense of humour.
We were all Sinatra fans, and we went to see a film called Ocean's 11. And part of the cast was Cesar Romero, and it just so happened he drove the car, and I had just bought a wee battered Austin A35 at the time. So I became Caesar, and that is the truth of it.
Like Jimmy Johnston, Billy's greatest moment came in Lisbon when, as captain, he led Celtic to become the first British team to win the European Cup. It was a massive achievement for the club, its attacking and skillful play bringing victory over the defensive drudgery of Inter Milan.
Straight up. Oh, a fly shot and a great save by Barty.
I've often regretted the fact that we weren't out altogether. In actual fact, I've spoken to some of the boys about it, and they didn't know where I was. They didn't know that Sean and I were away to get the two.
I think they've entered this season. They have won.
Billy's time as a player ended in 1975 when he played his final game in the Scottish Cup victory over Airdrie. In his career, he'd achieved 9 championships, 7 Scottish Cups, 6 League Cups and the European Cup. But his pride as a Celt would not let him stay away for long. 3 years later, he returned as manager.
My head would have told me to stay at Aberdeen, which would have been the sensible thing to do. But my heart wouldn't let me do anything but go back to Celtic Park.
Billy's managerial success began when the team won the championship in his first season. In 1981, Celtic again won the league, losing only 6 matches and leaving Rangers trailing by 12 points in 3rd place. The following season, Rangers under their manager and former captain John Gregg were determined to stop Celtic's domination of the league, but their challenge was to be of no avail.
Moyes on the overlap, he's made up a lot of ground. That's a good cross, there's Frank McGarvey! 2-1 to Celtic.
Billy's success was due to his knowledge as a player and manager, but the way the team won was just as important as the result.
It's a charismatic way of playing. Results are vitally important. At the end of the day, the end often justifies the means because points are important. But I think in Celtic, the fans demand the means, and that means has got to be exciting. You've got to provide good, open, exciting play. From I was a kid at Celtic Park, Celtic always played the passing game. That was essential to the club, and it just seemed to be passed down from group of players to group of players, from manager to manager.
Despite winning 5 trophies in 5 seasons, things were not easy for Billy off the pitch. After disagreeing with the board, he left to seek pastures new. But the McNeil story as Celtic's manager was not yet over.
Joy for Celtic manager Billy McNeil. Celtic have won the first domestic honour of the season, the Scottish League Cup.
4 years later, the season which celebrated the club's centenary was to be one of the most memorable, not least for the return of Caesar.
I had to prove a point. Obviously, you know, I was always disgruntled at the manner in which I left. It was particularly important that I did well in that initial season. I recognise only too well the enormity of the challenge that Rangers presented at that particular time, because Graham Souness had come along and a revolution had been created.
But the revolution failed to trouble Celtic as they went on an unstoppable league run.
There's a nice dummy. Billy Stark has scored. And look at this ball. Beautiful little dummy there. And there was Billy Stark. That was not an easy chance.
Tangle of legs, it's sorted out by McCarthy. Had a chance now for Walker. Sandy Walker going through and Roberts. No mistake this time. Celtic are in front.
Stay. No offside. That's a great move by Morris. McAvenny with a chance, he scored. just before half-time, the Rangers defence caught wide open. No Woods in goal, and that's a goal. McAvenny.
There's McStay looping it across to Rogan on the far side. It's back to Billy Stark. Appeals for handball against Goff. It's still not clear for Rangers. There's Paul McStay. Paul McStay with the opening goal. There's Tommy Burns with the in-swinger. It's in.
That season, Celtic beat Rangers 3 times and drew once. The Souness challenge, along with his big money signings, had been silenced. After the presentation of the championship trophy to the fans at Celtic Park, Billy's sights were set on a remarkable double to celebrate the club's centenary year in style.
That was intended for Miller, but it's found Rogan. Good play by Rogan. Equaliser by McAvenny. Frank McAvenny for Celtic. A sea of green and white. There's Stark. McAvenny. Frank McAvenny has won the cup for Celtic. Absolutely incredible. So there is the moment the Celtic legions were hoping for. The captain Roy Aitken holds the Scottish Cup aloft. Celtic have won the double.
Billy McNeill is the epitome of a great Celt. From his days as the most successful captain of the club, leading them through their greatest period in history, to manager when he revitalised the club and restored its pride. Even now, the club still holds a special place in his heart. He vividly remembers his feelings when asked to join as a boy.
Big Jock came and he didn't have to ask me. Just the very fact that Big Jock came and said, look, would you like to sign for us? So that was enough for me. And it's always meant that. I've always had the pride. Maybe sometimes I was too proud of being a Celt, and maybe at times that allowed them to be put in front of things that should have been more important, but I loved it. I still love the association I've had with the club, and it's a club I'll always love and respect and hope that they do well.
Billy's determination and dedication to the club was unshakable. To describe him as a great Celt, even today, is obviously an understatement. The captaincy of Celtic carries the weight of history of arguably the greatest club side in the world. From James Kelly in 1888 through Willie McStay and Jock Stein to the present day, the honour demands a player of great maturity and strong leadership. Such a captain was Paul McStay.
Paul McStay away from McKinnon. There's the equaliser.
Yet another product of Celtic's phenomenally successful youth policy. From the very beginning, Paul showed the poise and vision to achieve greatness in football. That was shown to great effect in his Premier League debut in 1982.
Husky. McStay. Oh yes! Sheer brilliance from young Paul McStay. And young Paul McStay celebrates his Premier League debut with a goal to remember.
After humbling Aberdeen, Paul's first Old Firm game was to prove just as remarkable.
The Rangers defence had an inning. Here's a great chance for Murdo McLeod. McStay following up. Paul McStay in his first Old Firm match makes it one apiece. McStay so determined. Perfect chance from McGarvey.
His skill at such an early age quickly made him a favourite with the supporters and management, earning him a regular place in the team.
McLeod now to McStay. It's Burns, McStay again. Absolutely magnificent.
Total dream player. McStay at his best. Phenomenal football. Everything he wanted in a footballer, he had it. And the one thing I would say maybe lacked was a wee bit of pace, but he made up for that with the sharpness of his brain and could go and just run a football match the way he wanted to do it. Phenomenal player.
Burns. Celtic edging forward very slowly. They have 5 men in the penalty area. McStay, brilliant goal.
Paul won his first championship medal in the remarkable 5-0 league-winning match against St Mirren in 1986. As always, he was keen to make his contribution.
His way to the byline. Here's Martin McLeod now. McStay. 4-0 to Celtic.
By the centenary year, Paul was a mature member of the squad and played in every league game. His presence was immense, not only providing goals, but also scoring himself.
Went beyond everybody, it's in. McStay, the equaliser.
Paul's vision in midfield allowed him to command the game, opening it up to create goal-scoring chances for his teammates. It was vital to defeat Rangers if the title was to be won. The crucial match was considered by many to be the tie at Ibrox in March. If Celtic won, there would be no way back for the Ibrox side.
Good play though by Tommy Burns for Celtic. Here's Paul McStay. It's a great effort from McStay. Brilliantly saved by Chris Woods. Just at a point where we thought that Paul McStay had a quiet spell in the match, he burst to life. Now just look at the power in this shot. As the pass comes forward from Tommy Burns, McStay with one thought in mind. There's Paul McStay. Paul McStay with the opening goal. 21 minutes into the second half. The Celtic end goes wild. A superb strike by Paul McStay. It's only his 4th of the season. But it was McStay who won that ball on the right initially, looked over the cross. Anton Rogan nodded it down. There was Billy Stark, some appeals for handball. As the ball was then scrambled out from the head of Graham Roberts, then nodded down again by Morris. There was McStay, and Woods was helpless.
In 1990, Paul became the third McStay to hold the club captaincy.
Only with him all the way. Tries to tee it up for Fulton. Here's a chance for Paul McStay! Oh, a marvellous strike by the Celtic captain.
However, the club was not keeping pace financially with the Rangers' challenge, resulting in experienced players leaving Celtic. In May 1992, Paul caused great speculation when he threw his jersey into the jungle, seemingly saying farewell to the fans. He later stated that he was simply reviewing his options, but no one in the stadium that day wanted such a faithful player to leave. Paul returned the next season and never regretted his decision to stay.
Boyd, McStay. Oh, marvellous goal by Paul McStay!
Back with Paul McStay. And Celtic have made it at last. The captain strikes. Good play again. Grant checks inside McCall. On for McStay. It's a second for Celtic. Another superb goal. Beautifully created. And finished in style by the captain Paul McStay.
The reward for Paul's loyalty to the club came in 1995, when at last he got his hands on the silverware that he and the supporters had desired for so long.
Paul McStay's been waiting for the presentation of the Tennent's Scottish Cup to Paul McStay.
Paul McStay has been one of the greatest servants of Celtic Football Club. His style of play often brought the fans to their feet, and his passion for his club was boundless. In over 600 games for the club, he invariably gave his all. Some players become famous by scoring spectacular goals, which are played over and over to be enjoyed by the fans. But if a player were to be given credit for his sheer love of his team, it would be difficult to beat Peter Grant. From his debut against Rangers in 1984, Peter has been a player whose commitment is unquestioned.
From a Celtic point of view, I mean, Peter was certainly a die-hard Celtic man. One of the lovely things about him was that he never hid it, and he expressed it openly to everybody, and I think everybody accepted that.
Even 15 years later, Peter still remembers his surprise at being selected for his debut in the Old Firm game. He hadn't even been on the first team bus, never mind training with them.
My morning for going to games was always going to Mass on Saturday morning. It was always 10 o'clock Mass Saturday morning. So I'd come back from there and my mum had said to me that there was a phone call from Celtic Park to get an hour early. So I thought the game had changed because we were playing every reserves. I can always remember it as if it was, as I say, yesterday. And the thing was, I went in and I remember two Celtic legends walking past me, Bob Lennox and Jimmy Johnson, walking past me saying, "You'll get your first breather tonight about 9 o'clock. But I just laughed, you know, and so I just, because it was him that was talking to me, so I was nervous. It was a nervous laugh, really. Never thought anything else of it. Davy Hay wanted to see me right away, take me into Brian Scott's room. Nobody else in it. He said, "Peter, you're playing over at Ibrox today." It was the first time I've ever swore at a manager in my life, and probably the last. And I said, "You're effing joking." And Davy just stood there. He said, "If I didn't think you couldn't do it, I wouldn't be playing you."
In the season that followed, Peter became a regular player for Celtic, contributing in his own way to the success of the team.
I mean, you don't become a professional player, and you certainly don't have a professional career for the length of time and at the height that Peter has had without having lots and lots of ability. But certainly his abilities were in different directions. He supplied ingredients that often the very skillful players perhaps didn't have.
McKinley staying out of the play, Harper breaks, good recovery by Grant.
During the legendary centenary season, Peter's determination to bring glory to the club increased, not only to mark a special year for Celtic, but to see off the Rangers challenge.
Here's Peter Grant for Celtic. The underside of the crossbar, and in from Billy Stark. 12 minutes from the end, Celtic take the lead. What an incredible strike that was to beat Andy Gorham. But the credit surely must go to Peter Grant.
But fate was to deal Peter a cruel blow. After playing in almost every match, he broke a bone in his foot just before the Scottish Cup final.
I remember being absolutely demoralised, you know, because I knew how close we were. And as I say, the Saturday prior, I'd scored against Hibs at Easter Road, we'd won 2-0. And I can always remember the ball coming out the edge of the box and smacking in the top corner, and I thought everything was great.
Peter's fitness was to be decided by Billy McNeill and Tommy Craig just days before the final.
On the Friday night, he told me, because I could hardly move, you know. And the Friday night he told me, and thankfully him and Tommy, Craig had taken me outside on Seamill, and I'd went a long walk after it. But I was absolutely sobbing my eyes out. But it was the correct decision, you know, it was a correct decision. But I wanted him to make it for me. If they'd have said to me, "You fit to play?" I said yes. But I was a million miles away. And as I say, it was one of the saddest days that I had at the club. But come the Saturday evening after we won the cup, it was one of the greatest, you know, because it was all by, yeah, people say, "Oh, but you missed out on the medal and you'd played so well in every game up to then." So it doesn't matter, because it always was the case with Celtic, always was the case of my life in football. At the end of the day, if the team's successful, I'm more than pleased.
But Peter finally got his Cup winners' medal the following season. What made the achievement sweeter was that it was against his rivals, Rangers.
Quickly, here's Peter Grant. That's intended for Joe Miller, a great interception by Goff. Stevens in trouble, there's Joe Miller! 4 minutes from half-time. The celebrations begin on the Celtic bench. A dreadful error by Gary Stevens.
It would be fair to say that at times Peter wasn't universally praised by the Celtic support. But no matter the results on the pitch, his faith in Celtic was unquestionable.
There were 4 things to win. We wanted to win the 4 of them, but not just win them, to play exceptionally well in every single game because your standards were so high, but because the club meant so much to us. You know, every single day. I mean, I can also say in all the hard times I had at Celtic, the illness, everything, I'd never ever lost my enjoyment of getting in there. Every time I've seen Celtic Football Club, driving around the corner, seeing Celtic Football Club, I actually pinched myself to the day I left, you know, because it just meant so much to me.
In April 1994, the great Celtic support were banned by Rangers from the Old Firm match. Some thought it would demoralise Celtic. It had the opposite effect.
It was fantastic for us because we knew it didn't matter how many mistakes we made, we were all right. But it wasn't even the case of that, because we knew we could silence them, you know, and we played it perfectly. And we went 1 up, and to be fair, we were absolutely cruising, you know. And then Rangers fans were getting them pelters after 20 minutes, you know, and we were delighted, you know. But obviously that's what made it a lot easier for us.
Well, Celtic could really silence this huge crowd here. It's Collins. It's a magnificent goal by John Collins.
I think it put more pressure on their players than actually did on us, you know. And the only unfortunate thing is we never won the game, because it'd been great to say for the rest of my career, we even beat all the supporters there, you know.
The arrival of Tommy Burns as manager revitalised Peter's career. Both men knew what Celtic stood for and gave their all to advance the club.
And I think there's something special when you've got homegrown talent there. And really, I mean, I signed contracts with Celtic, I couldn't even tell you what was in them. I was just wanting to know the length of time it was in them, you know, because I always thought if I signed a 3 or a 4 or 5 year contract, I was going to be playing for Celtic for the next 4 or 5 years.
Despite the resurgence of the club, his hopes seemed dashed when he was injured in the last league game of the season. But sheer determination gave Peter his rightful place in the final.
On the Wednesday before the game on the Saturday, I got the caliper off and I went up training. And I remember the first shot I taken, I was in excruciating pain. I was like, and I just bit my teeth together. Like the manager that's looking for the action for me, I never said a thing. But in myself, I was like, gee, you know. But it went away as quickly as it came. And then sure as fate, the next day it went up. Yeah, it was still hurting me bad. But they said to me, the manager said to me, I'm giving you to tomorrow and I'm going to ask you. Straight and I want you to be honest. I said, I'm fit. He said, you tell me the truth? I said, yeah. And I can say my hand on heart this time, I'd have said no, because of the fact I wouldn't want to let the team down, you know. And I knew how much it meant to us to win this one.
Tommy Burns had placed his trust in Peter that day, but even he was surprised by his performance.
Must we mention him? And for him that day was just a total turnaround. From being one of the most disliked guys, he suddenly became the top guy. I think granted, I thought he died and went to heaven then, you know, because there he was in the Scottish Cup final, being our best player that day easily.
Here's Lawrence in behind McNally, a chance for Airdrie. In goes Peter Grant. Excellent play by Grant.
How he managed to play in the game I'll never know, because he told us at the time he'd be 6 weeks out, and here he was playing again 2 weeks later. And playing in that fashion, in that manner, and hurting the injury and still driving himself on. I knew we'd win it with the likes of him and people like him that were in the team, you know. They just have to win it for them.
But as a player, the hurt of losing so often at important times was unbearable at times. But to actually win again, it was just sheer relief, you know. And people say, was that emotional? Yeah, there was a million things through my mind. Because we'd won again, because of the fact I'd made the cup final after having the injury. But as I say, just winning with Celtic again and getting up and picking a trophy up was unbelievable, you know. It was a great climax.
Peter Grant has known the highs and lows at Celtic, but through everything, his pride when wearing the hoop jersey never diminished, and he always gave 100% for his club.
Oh, that's a good ball from Stark. Here's Walker. That's for Peter Grant. That's the second!
Every game, I gave it my best shot. Whether I was hopeless in the game or whether I was fantastic, I gave them 100% effort in every single game because I knew how much it meant to them. And as I say, I'd stood in the terrace as well, and I knew how passionate I was when I stood in the terrace. And to actually pull a jersey on, well, it's a dream come true. And as I say, people say to me, why did you never ever swap strips or that? I say, well, I swapped them strips for Celtic one's hard enough to get. So you ended up with about 50 Celtic strips, and they're saying, crazy, you know, we played against some of the best players in the world. And I said, well, what am I wanting their strip for? They've not played with the green and white hoops on. But to me, Celtic was my team, and that was the dream. And I loved the dream, you know, and to me, nobody can ever take that away from me. I thought if I'd done it once, I'd have been delighted, but to do it nearly 500 times, I still pinch myself yet.
Now Wilson. Burns gets it in. Did extremely well. Craig. Yes!
When a slim 19-year-old made his debut in 1975, after being signed by Jock Stein, few people, least of all Tommy Burns, would have charted the incredible career which lay before him, during which he would win 6 league championships and 4 Scottish Cups. He quickly made a place for himself in the team and realised what was demanded of a Celtic player.
Dazzles Mackay, runs, on it!
That year was a bedding in process where you suddenly realise what's expected of a Celtic player, that you have to be there, you have to play at a certain standard, you're demanded to win, you're demanded to entertain, all these different things. And that takes a lot of getting used to, and it took me quite a considerable time to understand that and, you know, realise that this was a special club with special expectations, special people that supported them. But at the same time, I wouldn't have changed that for anything, because it makes you demand the absolute most of yourself every time, you know. You don't always get it right enough, but that was what you demanded, that's what you lived for.
That discipline quickly bore fruit. In 1977, he won his first championship medal. But in the previous season, Tommy already had his first taste of the Old Firm clash.
I can remember my mother bringing the newspaper in to the bedroom. I was still in my bed at the time. It was about 9:30 in the morning, somebody came in. And she was really chuffed, you know, and came in and gave me my paper in with the glasses and that, you know, to read about myself. And that felt so good, you know. Felt so good to think that you'd played against Rangers and you'd done well and people were saying nice things about you, and that was thinking, well, this is the first step to becoming a player with Celtic, you know, because that was one of our, I think, my second or third game, so that was basically just the first rung of the ladder, really. But very exciting and so satisfying, you know.
That passion for the fixture was evident in Tommy's first Scottish Cup final. Both sides fought for 90 minutes without scoring, but Celtic's determination proved to be stronger.
A fantastic achievement, because you're then looking and thinking, God, you've won the Scottish Cup with Celtic. That's something you've gave your life for when you were 14 or 15, to think you'd actually play in a Scottish Cup winning team for Celtic. And the fact it was against Rangers as well, which made it even better.
Well away by Dawson. There's Sneddon. Tom Forsyth, still not clear. Danny McGrain. Oh, that's a goal! McCluskey got the touch from that shot. There was a deflection.
A quiet night. I had a night in Frank McGarvey's house that night. I can't remember what time I got in it, where I was, who I was with. Wrecked.
Celtic have won the Scottish Cup for the 26th time.
The championship was won again in 1982. By then, Tommy was a seasoned professional, his talents helping to win the league against St Mirren.
The same for Burns, now McCluskey. Oh, that's a great goal from Celtic. George McCluskey. Lovely touch again from Burns. Now McCluskey. And that really clinches it all. Great move again from Celtic. And now it's a procession. The man who started it all that time was Tommy Burns. Great piece of play going forward. The pass to McCluskey was perfection. And so was the finish, leaving Thompson completely helpless. Whittaker, Burns. Celtic very patient now, they have the lead. There's Burns going all the way, and that's a glorious second goal.
Oh, through to Burns. This must be, yes. 3-0. Danny McGrain, there's Burns, will let fly again. It's a great goal. Oh, yes.
Burns again. On his left foot this time. That's better from Tommy Burns.
You know, the players were close to the fans and wanted to play for the jersey and play for the team and play for the supporters and try to be heroes and try to be legends while they're there. They want to be winning things and be remembered in the eyes of the supporters for being a great player. Any time I played well for Celtic, it was always down the jungle side. For some reason, I don't know why that was, but I always just felt so much more stronger, accomplished playing down that, because they gave us fantastic encouragement. You know what I mean? A lot of people they gave a fantastic abuse to, but I was one of the lucky ones that they let me away with a lot, I think. But they gave me fantastic encouragement, and I'll always be eternally grateful for that, you know.
Such strong support was crucial during the 1988 Scottish Cup run, where Tommy's skills, particularly his tremendous left foot, often left the opposition in his wake.
There's Burns. That was magnificent.
Well, I think because Big Billy was coming back, and I think that gave everybody a lift because of who he was. And he epitomised for me everything that was Celtic and good about Celtic. He was a big, tall man, European Cup winner, fantastically successful as a player. It was a fantastic motivator, Big Billy. I think he could say the right things and touch the right buttons certainly for myself, and I know for a few other guys. So at that time it worked really well, and it came in, and the longer the season went, the better it became.
Tommy's playing career took him to the top of Scottish football, but like everyone else, he realised that one day his playing days would come to an end.
Johnston for Celtic. That's a fine pass to Burns, a great chance for Celtic for the third. Brilliantly finished!
And that was hard, very, very hard then, because you're into the unknown then. I'd been there since I was basically 15 years old, and this was me, a man at 33, leaving. So really lots of different fears and wee anxieties and things like that, what you're going to do, how's it going to be, and you're going to the second division to play and all these different things. But I turned it all around and tried to be as positive as I could, and try to go and do everything I possibly could for Kilmarnock, the same way I'd try to do everything I could as a player for Celtic, and just take that professionalism and effort and put it into playing for Kilmarnock.
That professionalism was noted, for after being appointed manager at Kilmarnock, he returned to his beloved Celtic in 1994. The supporters were keen to discover if Tommy had enough experience to lead a club as large as Celtic. His first Old Firm match in charge answered their question.
Here's Walker causing problems also for Presley. McGinley back towards McStay. A brilliant save by Gorham. Collins takes it. He scored! Magnificent free kick from Collins. And Celtic get the reward for a wonderful first half performance. Good play again. Grant checks inside McCall. On for McStay. It's a second for Celtic.
Tommy's style of management brought flowing, entertaining football back to Celtic Park, giving the support new hope for their first piece of silverware in many years.
Put off by Collins to Nicholas. Good play. Peter Grant gets a touch. It's Collins. It's a magnificent goal by Celtic. McPherson. First touch letting him down now, and McStay bounced. Plays it through now into an area for O'Donnell to attack the ball. Good play by McStay. O'Donnell hits early cross. It's Faulkner who's in there now. That's a tremendous strike. This is Collins. It's Tosh McKinlay. Good ball through. The opening's on for John Collins. Great play by Collins.
That style of play took Celtic to the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. The Parkhead men had drawn with Hibs in the first match. In the replay, there would be no mistakes.
Celtic. Millen, a little bit of trouble there. Out it comes to Collins. Delightful finish from Collins. Measured into the corner. Chance on over the header. That'll settle it. Phil O'Donnell for Celtic.
The final was crucial for many reasons. Tommy Burns had to prove he could win a trophy in his first season. The fans had not seen a cup victory for 6 years. Stalwart players like Captain Paul McStay, Pat Bonner and Peter Grant were determined not to let their team and their manager down.
McLaughlin sends over a good cross, that's awkward. Jimmy Boyle scrambles the ball away, but only as far as McKinley. That's for Van Hooijdonk. Great header! And Celtic are ahead! Pierre Van Hooijdonk scores his 8th goal in Celtic colours and sets the cup final alight. Jack with Faulkner. Here's McIntyre. The final whistle goes! Celtic have won the 10th Scottish Cup.
Big pressure that day, especially against Airdrie, who were murder to play against because they work really hard and man mark all over the pitch. And we hung on really then, to be fair to the boys and to be fair to the lads. I mean, they were under real pressure, we all were. but they hung on, they battled their corner, didn't play particularly well, but eventually getting the trophy, and that was really the main thing. That was it, just to win the cup that day. They gave a bit of sense of relief about the club. They could start to build again. I remember driving through the Gorbals in the team bus, and having seen that before in all Celtic films, the old Celtic teams coming down through Hampden, and then back up through the Gallagate, which is where I came from, through the pubs and I'm going to say pubs and clubs. I don't know any clubs there, or certainly not any you want to be getting into, but through all the pubs in the Gallagate, and that was, for me, was something that I felt really proud about, the fact that I came from the Gallagate and then I was driving through there. I wasn't driving through, I had my licence at that time, right enough, but I was being driven through there as a manager of Celtic with all the Celtic players in the cup and everything, and it was fabulous. It really was wonderful.
However, despite that success, the stigma of Rangers winning 9 in a row was too great for the board at Celtic. Tommy resigned in 1997.
Everybody was too wrapped up in it, and all centred on this 9 in a row thing, which was absolutely crazy, because it happened, and so what? So what? It just passes, and you go on and you build again and you start again. And we would have changed a lot of different things had we stayed there. They brought in, funnily enough, they brought in some of the players they did bring in and took it on, and we would have learned from all that, because that was 3 years of fantastic experience, just binned and discarded, and it could have been so much better. But that was a choice, and you have to live with that in football and go forward. Living through it all, I've learned a great deal from that, and hopefully I've learned from that experience and not get involved in things like that, be able to step back and be calmer and look at things pragmatically, you know, as opposed to in your face and we need to do this, we need to do that, you better this or whatever. And even the people above me, I would manage people above me a lot more differently now.
Tommy's pride and passion for the club he loves has never diminished, from the time he signed as a schoolboy to the present day.
What does it mean? Probably everything. Everything, because I think that when you're young you have your dreams about what you think you want to be, and I think to suddenly get those dreams given to you and to live through them for a long time and to have it all come true is a fantastic feeling to know that you've realised your dream. And that's something I'll always be grateful to God for, because God, I pestered him night after night just to be a Celtic player. And the fact that I stayed there so long and was fortunate enough to win so many things and play with so many great players and so many great people there, like Jimmy Steele, Frank Connor, Billy McNeil, Davy Hay, Sean Fallon, Jock Stein. Fantastic people. And just an absolute pleasure. It really was. It was a dream come true. It really was. Fantastic.
One player who may not have been born a Celt, but will surely die a Celt, is Murdo MacLeod. As soon as Murdo was signed by Billy McNeil from Dumbarton, he became wrapped up in the Celtic way of playing football and everything that entailed.
You're walking through the front doors at Celtic Park, a great honour. Every day, it's funny when you see the fans and if you take somebody around, showing them around the club, they're walking about with their mouth open. And that's the way we were every day. No, going in and good banter in the dressing room, up to training every day, all the players, good crack. I think it was the way the players got on with each other, helped us in the early days.
McCluskey and MacLeod thinking about this. Oh, it's in! Murdo MacLeod gets number 4.
When I actually signed, or it was official I was going in to sign, but the next morning I walked into the dressing room and all the boys were cheering and nearly mocking, had all the telegrams. Who's this guy MacLeod? And he just thrown them all about. And it was a great welcome walking into the club, but the players were so friendly. I just turned 20 years of age, so you're still quite a young man getting into the first team dressing room.
Nicknamed the Rhino, Murdo was an immensely strong player, which, when combined with his skill on the ball, made him a formidable opponent.
Johnston, a chance for Celtic. Thumbed in by McQuair, and Celtic are in front. created by the diligence and the determination of Murdo MacLeod in midfield. And how about that for a pass? Inside Gordon Hunter, Johnson got a touch, a Clough was committed, and there was McLeod to finish it off.
I remember going down to watch him at Dumbarton, and he was only 19. And I said to myself, God, this boy looks the part. But they had another fella there as well, called Graham Sharp. And I said to myself, no, Dumbarton can't possibly have two good players that are going to be able to step up. So I chose Murdo. If you say that it was his enthusiasm alone, then you're undercrying his ability as a player. Because two great feet. And he scored tremendous amount of goals from midfield, most of them spectacular.
Murdo MacLeod does it again.
That power was again evident when Celtic met Rangers in the 1982 League Cup final.
Running down, and that's him. Murdo MacLeod, number 2.
If you live in Scotland, no matter whereabouts in Scotland, you know what the Celtic fans feel, what they want their club to achieve. And once you join the club, within weeks, they're actually going to the supporters clubs, playing in the matches. Then you get a feeling what the whole thing's about.
To the Celtic fans, Rangers are always the main rivals. At the end of 1986, the teams would be separated by 15 points.
MacLeod!
Murdo left the club in 1987 for Borussia Dortmund. But even then, he thought one day he may return.
I always thought one day I would be back. In fact, I said it when I left that someday I'll be back at Celtic Park. I didn't know it would be 3 months later to play against them. But that was my first time back. But I always felt, going into the management side, that it's always a possibility. And I always knew if I had a chance I would give it everything I had.
10 years later, that chance came when he was approached by Davy Hay to join Celtic in a coaching capacity. After Wim Jansen joined the club, Murdo's future became clearer.
From the first day, I knew already he knew the same things as me, and he had the same ideas about the game and about the soccer we want to play. And that was very easy for us. Really, from the first day, we speak about the same thing.
These are tense times for the Celtic coach pairing of Wim Jansen and Murdo MacLeod, still trying to find shape and form.
The first 2 league games were lost, and many of the demanding Celtic fans were not impressed with the new regime. But that was to change at St Johnstone.
Good pass for Henrik Larsson. He's got a fair bit of room here. Jackson supporting through the middle, and Donnelly on the right. Here's Larsson! He's done it! Right on half-time, Celtic have struck. Weghorst to Jackson. Curling effort. Superb goal by Darren Jackson.
The players showed a bit of character. They fought together as a team, which we didn't think the first 2 games had happened, the first 2 league games. But they fought together as a team, and I think that gave the confidence and the lift. And from these 2 matches, we went on to be stronger game in, game out.
Celtic won their next 10 games and drew only 2. Already, they were on their way to their first trophy.
Donnelly in the middle, and Larsson!
Murdo and me, we knew really where we want to go. And we didn't want to go from our way of thinking, and I think that was the most important thing for us. We knew where we want to go, and we just want to go on that road and don't go off that road.
That focus meant that Celtic had not conceded a single goal in the Coca-Cola Cup run. They were determined to continue that trend. It had been 15 long years since the trophy was taken to Celtic Park.
Vikors making a run, it's a good one too. He's got some time to have a look here. And there's the opening goal! It's Mark Reaper! Long pass, it's given away by United, this could be trouble. Henrik Larsson takes a deflection! And that's number 2! And now Vikors, another good pass for Larsson. Nobody in the middle for Celtic. Larsson will need to hold this up while reinforcements arrive, unless he does it all himself. Here's Blinker. It's a good run this from Reggie Blinker. And a good ball in! That's number 3, and it's Craig Burley. The match winner in the semi-final scores the goal that may well clinch Celtic's win in the Coca-Cola Cup final.
The new lineup of players coached by Murdo MacLeod and Wim revitalised the club, rejuvenated the optimism and the sense that this could be Celtic's year. The fact that Ibrox was covered in a sea of green and white only sweetened the victory.
I think that showed us that night that we had winners in the dressing room. It happened so many times that we hadn't won anything. So here we've got our first trophy. And the next one on the shelf was going to be the League Championship.
Tremendous pressure had been placed on Rangers to win 10 titles in a row, thus beating Celtic's record. Murdo and Wim were often asked if they felt the same way.
Not at all. No pressure at all. And I think possibly that's one of the reasons that it went throughout the season that we won the championship, because I didn't feel pressure. Wim certainly didn't feel pressure. We just went on to do our job.
There's always a pressure in soccer, but it wasn't very special, that pressure for me. From the start, really, we work not only with the team but with the staff very good together, and these kind of working make it very easy for you. The pressure is always on in soccer, you know that, but it wasn't real special.
That philosophy paid off when their nearest rivals met in the highly charged atmosphere of the Old Firm New Year fixture.
He was worried, but Celtic had a bit to spare. There's Lambert again for McNamara. Rangers, you feel, are here for the taking. It's Craig Burley! Well, it's been on the cards. And Burley has broken through for Celtic. Stubbs, who's played with great authority. And the Vikors turned his back on it, whether he thought he was offside and had to get out of the way. Oh, great stop from Thorne by the effort from Jackson. Now Larsson. The second one will surely settle it for Celtic. That's Lambert! Oh, what a way to settle it! Paul Lambert! No chance for Gorham, no chance now for Rangers today.
Both Murdo and Wim realised such results do not come easily. The massive Celtic support was crucial that season.
It's very important if you really play very big games. They can really be the 12th player of you, and that's most important, I think, for not only for the coach but for the team too. But it's very important to have a good relationship with your supporters, because then you feel really how they think, and you want to do even more to win every game and to win finally the league.
That great day came on May the 9th, when the fans were about to start the biggest celebration of the decade. After today, there would be no looking back. The team were about to bring the cup home.
Because this was the last chance for every one of the players to go out and go down in the history of Celtic Football Club. Everyone connected to the club knew how important that game was, and everyone knew we'd win the championship. And even Celtic fans would go nervous, but they knew deep in their own hearts that we were going to win it. Because, as I said, there's something about our club that we were going to win one in a row to stop the 10 in a row.
Controlled by Henrik Larsson and flicked on for Simon Donnelly. Time for Main, not the best of clearances. Picked up by Paul Lambert, now Henrik Larsson. Donnelly's alongside him. Larsson lining up for the shot! What a start for Celtic! 2 minutes gone! And Larsson makes the breakthrough! Boyd's looking for a possible pass, waiting for the McNamara run. It's a good pass. In for Harold Breitbach! He's done it! Harold Breitbach scores the goal, which may well give Celtic the title.
The pent-up emotion that day was difficult to describe. Everyone in the stadium was longing to hear the final whistle.
The long wait is over. Celtic have won the championship.
They were so happy we won the league, and they thanked me for doing that. But they don't need to thank me. I just try to do my job and to win the league, and that was the most important thing for me.
As Tom Boyd lifted the trophy, faces from the club's present and past history were again celebrating a great victory. Murdo MacLeod was not to be left out, as he finally got his hands on a Celtic Championship trophy for the first time in 11 years. For Murdo MacLeod and Wim Jansen, that great day will remain in their memory for the rest of their lives. But like many before them, the time to leave the club had come.
You always want to make up your mind about things, and I think some other people had some other minds. And I knew for myself I couldn't do the things I want to do. And then you really have to do the best things in the way of Celtic.
If I got my chance and I blew my chance, I'd be disappointed walking out of Celtic Park. But I got a chance. I was part of the championship winning side, the Coca-Cola Cup winning side. I walked out with my head held high. No matter what happened, whatever's been said, I walk out with a sense of pride. We won 4 championships, or I won 4 championships as a player, but to actually stop Rangers winning 10 in a row was the most important thing. To be part of that, there's so much pride attached. So walking out of Celtic Park, I felt I've done my job. Whether someday I'll be back, I don't know. I'd love to be back, but if it doesn't happen, I can still walk about between now until forever and say I was part of that, and that I'm happy.
This programme has featured players who were not chosen to be part of a dream team. They were chosen for their attitude towards their club, their tenacity and their spirit when playing for the jersey. There are so many more from many decades who deserve the honour of hero. No doubt, in the future, there will be many others who will stand up and declare themselves proud to be a Celt.